Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pails, steel-toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure. Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jalen.
Can I quote it, John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
Oh, we get. Oh, you guys hear that?
Oh yeah, we back.
They're gonna say, you know what they're gonna say when pick 30th is up. Well, first of all, guys, welcome in. Jimmy Toscano here, Bobby Manning. I forgot we're live. I'm just talking to you guys on the side here. Welcome in. What are they gonna say when the Celtics are on the clock or when the Celtics pick is in?
I don't know, but Jimmy, you should get your victory lap in, man. We got ours in the other day.
With the 30th overall pick in the 2024 NBA draft. The NBA champion Boston Celtics select. That's all I care about. I'll be honest. I have no idea where Bobby is having some issues. I have no idea where they're going to go with the pick, Josue.
Someone's putting on one of these. Something similar to it.
I like that. Look at that. I got the hard hat on. I know everyone's going to say, oh, Jimmy, you only wear the hard hat after a playoff win. Guys, it's the summer of the championship. You got to ride this wave. You got to enjoy every second of it. You got to say hello to the haters. You got to kiss the rings. You got to hit the hard hat. You got to lace up the steel toe boots. You got to do all those things. So the hard hat's going to be on this summer. It'll go away when the next season starts. But we're going to enjoy this, title time, I call it right now. We're going to enjoy everything.
Oh yeah,
enjoy it. And that's why we
first quarter
collectively between the three of us and everybody watching at home. By the way, thanks everybody. We probably don't have the best read on this year's draft class. We've been a little busy. Let's just say we've been a little busy. I think the Celtics have been a little busy. Hopefully the front office has crammed for this. I know they've been busy with the current roster, but certainly they've got people that spend, scouts that spend, all season looking at these players. So we'll find out in a couple hours, maybe not. Maybe it'll be sooner. Maybe it'll be later. We don't know what the Celtics are going to do, if they're going to make a trade. There's been a lot of trades already leading up to the draft. There's probably going to be some more maybe in tonight's draft. We'll have you guys covered. We're going to go live for a little bit here into the draft, maybe do a first couple picks. We're going to step aside. And then we're going to come back when and if the Celtics make a pick, or if they do anything else that requires us to go live, we will have you guys covered tonight. Nice to have we had like a week or so off. It's nice to have basketball back a little bit, right? We got our break. You guys thought that we were going away all summer. We're not going anywhere. So I'm going to throw it to you guys right off the bat. We're not going to start with draft talk. We're going to start with some things that happened yesterday with, you could call them a rival, the New York Knicks. I think if you look around the landscape of the NBA, they're a team that even prior to this move was a threat in no way, a competitor, a team that you were thinking about. And of course the injuries kind of caught up with them and they didn't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, where I think a lot of people thought they might. But we had a big trade yesterday. I'm going to toss it right up here on the screen. Mikal Bridges traded to the New York Knicks for 5 first-round picks. 4 first-round picks, 2025 first-round pick, and a 2028 pick swap. And again, the Knicks get Mikal Bridges and a 2026 second-round pick. I'll read the details real quick because I have it up here, and it was pretty complicated. So they're going to receive unprotected. Brooklyn's going to receive unprotected New York pick 2025, 2027, 2029, and 2020 and 2031. Damn,
trade the picks.
Still alive by then. Along with an unprotected pick swap with New York in 2028. They'll also receive a top 4 protected 2025 first-round pick from the Bucks, as well as a 2025 second-rounder. So a haul and a half for the Nets, who are obviously going in one direction, in the Knicks, who get Bridges. By the way, the Bojan Bogdanovic has also been shipped from Brooklyn. But the Knicks get Bridges. The Nets get a bunch of picks. I'm going to throw it to you guys. I didn't realize we were still on this big screen here. My bad.
I like it. Great graphic.
Are you guys still here?
The Nova Knicks are intact. Yeah, we're here, man.
Jesus,
the Nova Knicks.
My computer's freaking out on me. Okay.
You're good, man. You're crystal clear.
Let's get,
As someone who's been on that side before, Jimmy, just keep going.
My computer just freaked out on me. I want to throw it to you
Just
guys.
keep going.
Since I've given about a 45-minute runway to this trade, let's get your thoughts. We'll start with Bobby on just, what this trade means to the Celtics, what it means to the Knicks, what it means to the Nets, what it means to the Eastern Conference. And why
it's
did it happen?
bold. It's bold for sure, but I think teams in that position need to take those kind of strikes or risks to improve. And they were in a position where they were great, but they weren't elite. And are they elite now? Maybe, maybe not, but they're a little bit closer to that point. Now, how they build around those big four players is going to be interesting. You still got Josh Hart in there. You still have Mitchell Robinson. Isaiah Hartenstein, probably gone. He was a big part of their run. He was a starter for their run, so they lose him as well effectively in this trade. And all the pieces they gave up for OG Anunoby, and they had to pay him in a big way here today too. I like the construction of the team. I like the depth here. Center, they're going to have to figure out. Robinson's been hurt a ton over the last year or two here. But you have Randall, who's a sizable wing as well at this point. So maybe he can just make it work inside if the time comes. So they're in an interesting spot. I just don't think they quite reached the Celtics level here. You're just looking to be in the mix and catch a break maybe if you're the Knicks here. And they're certainly in that position right now. I would predict them today to be that 2 seed again.
Yes, finally. I mean, Bobby, I'm hoping we get. I'm getting ahead of myself here, but I'm hoping we get the Celtics Knicks Eastern Conference Final that we wanted this year, because this puts them in that direction for sure, man. Like, look, it's a lot of first round picks. It's a lot, but the New York Knicks, man, they're making it clear right now that not only do they want to put together sort of their top 6, but they also want to defend at a high level. And that's exactly what Mikal Bridges brings to the table. I mean, you complete the 6 here. You got the Nova group back together. We know their history. We know, obviously, what they mean to their alma mater. And now for them to be all back together again, that brings more excitement, more continuity, I think, for these guys. And then, again, this completes their version of a big 6 when you add Julius Randle and OG. And again, this is a defensive-minded top 6, So I think that's something that they're really thinking about when measuring themselves up against the Boston Celtics, the champion Boston Celtics. So, I mean, kudos to the Knicks for going all in. I know it's a lot, it's a lot of first-rounders, but when you look at the way teams are constructed right now in the sense of trying to compare yourself or put yourself anywhere near the Boston Celtics, I think this does it. They're taking a chance here, but I think it's worth the risk for sure. And then on the other side of things, the Brooklyn Nets, man, I mean, they looked at this championship from the other side thinking, man, those 2 picks were ours. The Finals MVP and Jaylen Brown, the top scorer and Jason Tatum, and now they're understanding the future, understand the importance of future first round picks, and they got a stack on deck right now. So I think it's a great deal for both sides.
Yeah, and this team gave the Celtics some issues late in the year, Jimmy. They walloped them in that last game they played, and they fell apart physically into the playoffs. And that's the question again. You have a coach in Thibodeau who's playing the guys the minutes he is. I'm sure part of the reason you go and get a Bridges as aggressively as you did is his durability, a guy who literally never misses games. So it's a plus there. He's probably going to move back into his old role as that more complementary spacing, secondary playmaking player. He showed spurts of being a primary guy in Brooklyn, and he can do that probably if the Knicks need him to. Maybe Brunson takes a game off here or there, or second units and stuff like that. But the big question is Randall. Do you try to move off him here and keep Hartenstein, have more depth, maybe add some bench pieces to the mix here? They have a couple first round picks tonight as well that they kept in this trade. So I'm sure that's how they're going to try to add their depth or move those for another piece here potentially. But this trade did hard cap them. And the OG extension or signing that they made today basically got them right up to that hard cap. So this is it here. Unless they adjust this trade a little bit or they move off a guy like Randall, this is their roster, and it's a good roster. It's a great roster, but you're basically done adding to it at this point because you're hard capped. And this is the start of what you look at with these new restrictions here, making a move like this, basically capped what the Knicks can do this year. So Hartenstein's gone from this group along with all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick though, I just also want to add too, but I just think that they're prioritizing depth, and that's a good thing when you look at the way things are now and trying to stay competitive and with the new rules and they don't want to go anywhere near the second apron. So I just think that it puts them in contention for the next few years. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they're gonna have to figure the Julius Randle thing is always going to be on people's minds in terms of like what they want to do, move forward with him or not. But outside of that, I think they're in pretty good shape.
Interesting. Nick Claxton throwing some shade at Bridges on Instagram.
Just now, after the extension?
Posting from across the river there in Brooklyn saying, I know who I am. He, of course, extended with the Nets tonight. So that's pretty funny.
I don't think Bridges had much of a say in him being.
I don't know.
I mean, shoot, if I'm Bridges, I don't care. I'm going to the Knicks.
You want to go with your Nova boys and you want to be competitive.
Yeah, you want to go to the team that people care about in that city, by the way. And not many people care about the Nets, and it sure as hell doesn't look like they're going to anytime soon. That is a tough situation to be in if you are a Nets fan, certainly, but player, damn, you don't really have a whole lot going on. I mean, that's a tank. That's a tank lineup right there, along with a couple other rosters that are probably going to be shaping up that way over the next couple months. And yeah, I'm sure that the CBA and all the new rules going in, we'll have to do a whole separate show on that, Bobby. We'll have to have you, every other bright basketball.
Get out a whiteboard.
Mine, yeah, exactly. To break that down. Certainly, my small brain can't handle it, so we're not gonna get into all the cap restrictions that every team's gonna be in tonight. But we are starting to see some of these moves take place. I'm not saying that the Bridges move was one of them. It does make the Knicks a legitimate force in the East. I am interested to see what they do with Randall. I kind of thought even before this trade that Randall might be on the outside. They might look to try to get rid of him. I don't know. There's something about Randall. I think it's his attitude. I think he
wasn't part of their run at all.
He wasn't. No, and he makes some boneheaded plays out there. I think he lets his emotions get the best of him.
And how good was Hartenstein?
Exactly. Hartenstein, you can obviously, you're getting a player that's on the up and up. Again, I don't know what he's going to command. Certainly he won't be cheap. He's going to want to cash in. But yeah, and if they're looking to maybe get something, I mean, they have nothing now. I mean, the Knicks, as far as assets go, as far as picks, I mean, maybe Randall can get you something back and you can not be completely dry. I mean, that is as good as the Knicks roster is going to be. Damn, 5 first-round picks. I mean, I'm having a hard time wrapping my mind around.
You know how I feel about that, Jimmy. I don't care.
You don't care at all. Yeah, you would give out 10 if you could.
And they had a lot. They had a lot to give out. One of these was from the Bucks.
The way the league's trending, though, you need those picks. You need to hit on those picks just for the cap reasons alone. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the control that you want. That's the contract, money situation that you want. If you were to get a player that can contribute in that first round after a year or two, I mean, that's how you kind of round out a roster. The Celtics are extremely top heavy. They're lucky and they hit on, a couple of guys that aren't in their starting lineup. But if they didn't, I mean, you're looking at a team that, and I think around the league, it'll be similar. The way it's trending is you can't really be super top heavy anymore because there's not enough money to round out that roster.
Right. And this is
anybody serviceable.
This is a roster that's similar to the Celtics, Josue. It's going to be built pretty heavily around its top 6 there. And now, is this a top 6 on Boston's level? Not quite, but their number 1 guy is pretty close to Boston's number 1 guy, and the number 2 option's pretty good here too. And there's depth in that top 6. Beyond that, doesn't matter come playoff time. Yeah, Celtics found their Hauser, and that was effectively who they rolled with at that point. And I'm sure Knicks will find their 7th guy, either on the team or off, or tonight. Again, they still have a couple of first-round picks tonight here. But teams like second-round picks now. You can find guys in the second round. You can find guys in undrafted free agency. If you're a really good team playing in New York City, you can find minimum guys as well to come and help you out. So
good point, New York City.
I think this is a great move. It's not a move that's going to make them a champion, but I like that because
I wouldn't. You know what though? I wouldn't even say that, Bobby, because so many things can happen throughout the course of a year. I mean,
that's what I was going to say.
We haven't even.
All you want to do is stay. Keep your seat at the table, right?
We haven't even talked.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, the Celtics news that kind of came out that wasn't necessarily great news. Some people weren't as surprised as other people were about talking about Porzingis. We'll have to get onto that at some point. But point I'm trying to make, Bobby.
I thought you meant the OG thing. I was like,
Well, no, the OG thing, we'll mention that too. But if the Celtics are only concerned about themselves, then they have one player right now that they need to be concerned about as far as injuries go, and that's Porzingis, and we'll touch upon that in a bit. But that Knicks roster, they were the team that was depleted last year. If they can come back healthy, they've got that. They got that taste in their mouth, and they probably feel that they were kind of screwed with the way the injuries hit them there. And if they can come back healthy and play the way that they were playing, play hard basketball, defensive minded under Tibbs, they're obviously going to bring it. I think they believe in what they have now. If you're the Celtics, you better stay healthy, because if not, and the Knicks do, they're coming. They're definitely coming. So I do think that they are actually championship contending roster. Now, everything has to shake out over the course of 82 games and then the playoffs. So who the hell knows? But if you're the Knicks and you wanted to give yourself a chance to win the title, you just did that. Now, you sacrificed all your picks and potentially your future to do it. But if they think their window is the next few years, then guess what? Their window is now the next few years. So you got to take those risks. If you're Brad Stevens, you take risks. No teams just back into a title, right? So I mean, we'll see what happens. It'll definitely make things more interesting. Any last thoughts on this one before we transition to a different news?
No, well, no, I'm just gonna Celtic stuff, but go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna add real quick. I mean, the Indiana Pacers, we can't forget about them, right? I feel like during my whole spiel, I didn't even mention the team that knocked these guys out. Yep. The reason why we didn't get our damn Celtics and Knicks Eastern Conference Finals matchup, the reason we had to be in there in Indiana during the Indy 500, the reason. Well, anyways, I just think the Pacers, the Knicks, if you're those teams, your confidence is through the roof. I mean, it should be, at least to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals. And if you're the New York Knicks, you're thinking to yourself, man, if we were just healthy, but now we have someone else that can give us a extra effort on the defensive end of the floor. So they elevated on that end for sure. So I think that's what this trade is really about. They want to make sure if they're ever in a series again with the Indiana Pacers that they feel good about their chances. And I do, after this trade for sure.
Yeah, I mean, again, Pacers. It sounds like they're going to, extend Siakam too. So they got their guy last season. That was their big move, and now that's going to be their big off-season move. Real quick, guys. I would be remiss to forget one of our great friends on the show talking about Prize Picks. And right now, use the promo code CLNS for a 100% deposit match. Up to $100. Here you go with a nice little graphic here. Get your first deposit matched up to $100. Let me see here. Obviously the NBA is over. Baseball is heating up. The Red Sox are actually looking pretty solid. A couple big wins Sunday night. I never thought I'd say that. I didn't see it. I refuse to watch though because I hate ownership. But
they got a streak going, Jimmy.
I got to give the players credit. So I will give the players credit. Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. With over 5 million active members, it's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and watch the winnings roll in. Get in the daily action with your friends and become part of the Prize Picks community today. You can turn $10 into $1,000, and you can actually win up to 100 times your money.
Duran must be fun on there.
Jaren Duran, great player to go more on right now, right? I don't think anyone's going less on Jaren Duran. He's making a case for the All-Star game. Red Sox fans have to get out there and vote. Certainly, it makes – listen, guys.
I can't believe that, too.
Baseball is not basketball. It can be a bit of a snore, if you will, to watch. So anytime you can keep it a little bit more interesting, you do it. So that's where Prize
the Red Sox – the Celtics were loving it the other night.
Oh yeah,
when you're there,
yeah. Derrick White was a big part of that win. Yeah, so I think winning is contagious. Celtics are in the building; they're at Fenway Park. All of a sudden, winning is something that is a lot easier to do. So again, Prize Picks is a lot of fun, guys. You can even go Caitlin Clark on them. If you want to go Caitlin Clark, go more. If you're still into the basketball, obviously WNBA is going strong right now. A lot of people are getting into that. So download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. That's it for Prize Picks. I'm not going to stack my ads right now because I don't want to lose everybody. That's John's little trick. Although he does stack the ads, he just doesn't stack the merch, which we will talk about later. Got a great merch wrap. Shout out Amit for that. You can still buy these hats, guys. No big deal. Okay, let's continue to go around the league. Unless you guys want
Jimmy,
to jump
someone
into the Celtics
said
right now.
someone said they should give a hard hat for the guy whoever's drafted by the Celtics tonight, man. How much would you lose it if you were watching live and you saw that shit?
If Adam Silver
Out of a hat?
hands him a hard hat.
Yeah, just a hard hat.
He's like, you're gonna need this.
And everyone's like, oh, it must be because they're the champions. And you're like, no, that's not why.
I'll tell you what, whoever the Celtics draft, everybody get on Twitter, just be like, now you need he won't even know what we're talking about. Like, you need to get the hard hat. You need to get the hard hat. Let him start thinking about it. Yeah. Welcome Celtics Nation. You got to get your hard hat. Okay.
Bring it up to Maine if you have to. That's right.
Bobby's itching to talk Celtics. I was gonna circle back to a couple other deals that have gone on, but do you want to jump to the Celtics right now?
Yeah, we should just hit on these for a minute because it's pretty big stuff.
By the way, it's 8:00, so the draft I think is starting, right?
Yeah, we can just shuffle through a couple of these, give our thoughts real quick. But this actually hit me pretty hard. I guess John didn't care, and some other fans are like, "Oh, it's fine."
John's never been surprised in his life. If you talk to John, he knows that.
But fans
he knew that Porzingis might miss the start.
So
I hope he's listening. I'm trying to bait him to come on.
So Brad Stevens was on Ryan Russillo. And I asked him the other day, what's the timeline? He's like, I don't know. We'll see when surgery happens. And again, what are we talking right now? 3 months from camp, effectively. So you think that's enough time to be ready for camp. And, I know the Globe reported that they're not necessarily sure if he'll be ready for camp. So that raised the flag a little bit. But then Brad, just matter-of-factly on the show, I don't even think he got asked, said, yeah, Kristaps is probably going to be out for at least the start of next year, and that'll be good because we'll get some other guys in there and do some stuff differently probably. And I'm like, huh? At least the start of next year? So what are we talking? Like Thanksgiving, Christmas?
Right. This is
so.
Where the Celtics
listen,
bring you along a bit.
It's not panic alarm. Yeah. It's not panic meter, but it's not good.
Where are you on this?
You're up to the yellow right now.
You're up to the
yellow.
What's
the yellow? Is that a 5? 4 or 5?
That's 4 or 5.
Yeah, but Bob, let me ask you this though. If he was anywhere near, let's say, I don't know, 80% or so by the start of the season, opening night, ring ceremony, you think the Celtics would put him out there?
No, so I guess that's what make people feel a little better.
I think that's a big part of it. Yeah, man, they're thinking big picture here, Bob. They're talking about banner at 19 now. You know what I mean? So like, I just think that
there we go.
When you look at the way things played out last year, not playing a second night of the back-to-backs and all that stuff, like this is different. I think this is going to be more along the lines of what I was envisioning last season to be before the season had even started, which was like, I'm happy if he plays 50 because I want to see him play throughout the entire playoffs. And he played way more than 50, and he ended up playing 4 playoff games. So 50. I think they're trying to reverse it. That's the exact reaction you gave me, Jimmy, a year ago when we had this conversation. Because again, I was just looking at his history and history of bigs and history of especially bigs closer to 30 than they are to 25, and that's where they stand. They typically don't give you more than 60 games throughout a campaign, and Porzingis had never even been throughout a deep playoff run. So think about it, guys. We got the opposite, didn't we? Like, I don't think the Celtics want to see that again, where he plays closer to 60 games or whatever it was this year, and then he gave you 3 postseason games.
So a couple things.
Or 4, 5, 4.5.
So the difference now, Josue, is you were hoping for like 60, 65 games with a healthy Porzingis going into the year. Now you've got one that's going to be coming back from from surgery, a lower body, or Achilles-ish type surgery. I don't even remember exactly what it is, solenoid or something.
Like the first one ever. Yeah, the first version of this injury ever.
Now, the thing there is, okay, so now you're already starting with a max number of games at like 60, let's say. Yeah. I mean, if Brad's saying like, oh, we hope to have him, or if he's going to miss the start of the regular season, what's that mean? 10 games, 15 games, 20 games? Who knows? They're not.
I'll say 10, 15. Yeah, maybe.
So okay, so you're into the season. So you're into November now, right? You're well into November, I guess. Some people are probably going to be hopeful that he comes back before Christmas or by Christmas. I'm sure there'll be people out there. Some people are going to say, take all the time you need. Regular season means nothing. Celtics don't need to have a 15-game lead going into the playoffs, even though that number 1 seed did work out for them pretty well, I might add. And they didn't really seem to have any hiccups along the way. And sure, you can name a number of reasons why. One thing I will say, though, is the fact that he did come back and play hurt. on it makes me at least feel that the surgery that he's having isn't this major, reconstructive. Is he ever going to be the same again? All that stuff. And I feel like he should be able to feel that way too, even though the surgery, it's different than just playing banged up. But I feel like he's going in there for the surgery, like a lot of players might do, to clean something up, to strengthen something up, and to go through that recovery. And he's going to come back and hopefully, knock on wood, be the guy that we saw prior to him going down, which was when he was out there, we saw the difference he made on this team. Now, we also know, Bobby, I know you want to speak, and I'll let you do that. Celtics were pretty damn good without him last year too. And they won a number of those
31 and 6 or something like that, right. 7.
So they're looking at that and saying, "Hey, we're rolling it. We're running it back with our top 6 here." By the way, you can buy a T-shirt with the top 6 on there, name drop T-shirt. We're running it back with our 5 guys.
Well done.
We're gonna try to do what we can to shore up that that stay ready crew and make do. And you know what, the Knicks are gonna be better. Maybe the Pacers are gonna be better. There's gonna be a couple teams that are gonna be better, and they won't have a 15-game lead or a 10-game lead. That's not normal to have that type of a lead anyway. So I think that they maybe understand that, worry about being healthy at the end of the season as opposed to being healthy at the beginning of the season.
No, yeah, and prioritize some younger guys. I get all that. I just hope he's okay. Mm-hmm. That's all I'm worried about. And I just don't know enough about this injury, right? Because calf strain, you hear that, 4 or 5 weeks, you're good. No long-term worries there. Torn, whatever, that leads to the displacement of whatever. That's a little bit more confusing and rare. So I don't know a lot about this recovery period and what this entails. I know a lot of the doctors on Twitter are saying that it'll be fine. Maybe it will be. But 3 months out from the season to say, he's probably not going to be ready, at least the start of the season. It's not great. I get that it's cautious, Josue, but it's not great. It's not ideal. And it was a little surprising to me. So maybe I'm just going on that. But the other news is better. Here
I just feel like, real quick, I just feel like Brad kind of keeps it vague, which, that's usually what he does, but maybe open up a little more with Ryan Russillo because he anticipated like 17 follow-ups if he were to drop that, you know what I mean? Like at a presser, So I don't know. Like he's been around long enough. He knows where he's at and when to drop something like that. Or maybe it was a slip of the tongue. Who knows? But yeah.
This is better news for the Celtics, Jimmy.
What you got?
Looks like they're going to try to extend White and Hauser.
Okay,
so if they got a top 6, they got a top 7, it looks like.
Complete the rotation.
They can prioritize White all they want. Bobby, hit me with the most White can make if he signs an extension this offseason. What's the most he can make?
So depend on what the cap goes up to next year, but the projection for now is 4 years, $127 million, which of course is a little over $30 million a year.
Okay, and what did OG just apparently agree to for a deal?
212, right?
Giannobi with the
over
Knicks.
5 years.
And so what's the deal? What's a steal?
The white contract.
Exactly, Josue. So I don't want to rain on Bobby's parade here or rain on anybody's parade. But if you're Derrick White, and Bobby, I know that you sometimes feel like these players will take a hometown discount. If you're Derrick White, you're looking around the league, you're seeing Claxton just signed for 100. You're seeing OG just signed. You're seeing what Siakam just made. And you're looking around, you're saying, I'm going to jump to sign my deal at 4 and 127.
That's how he should feel.
Why is that how he should feel?
No, he should feel like he should go get more.
Oh, okay. Exactly. So that's what I'm saying is if you're Derrick White, you're looking around the league and you're saying, I'm just going to sign this deal now, or I can wait, still have a huge role in this team, bet on myself like I have been, be in a position to win another title. The limelight's still going to be on me for all season. I'm finally getting the credit that I deserve. Let's not forget, he wasn't even considered a top 100 player by a certain, news outlet before the season started. I can guarantee you he will be in that ranking this year. If you're Derrick White, why do you sign that extension? Even if you're the Celtics, of course you're prioritizing it. You've probably been prioritizing it for months. The check or the contract's probably been on Derrick White's dinner table. Every time he walks in the door, it's just sitting there for him to sign whenever he wants it. That doesn't mean he's going to do it, though.
What do you think, Josue?
I don't know. It's a tough spot to be in because if another team were able to put up anywhere near that, then you're putting the Celtics in a tough spot there, compared to, let's say, a team that's willing to make him their second or third option. Is that a role that's going to happen here? Probably not, but is he just as important? I'd say so, as the point guard, as the anchor of the backcourt, the defense. I mean, Drew, you already have tied into where I'm assuming is going to be probably the last contract of his career. Maybe he signs a 1-year deal at the end, whatever the case may be. But for the most part, you want to have Derrick White as your point guard for the future. So if it takes the Celtics to pony up a little bit, I think they should. But if you're Derrick White, I mean, yeah, what you're saying makes a lot of sense, Jimmy. I mean, you look across the league, and especially when you look at the direction it's going in terms of people getting money and these bags that are being tossed left and right 2-3 years from now, that's not going to be a whole lot of money, compared to other guys, what they're making. And for a champion, a champion point guard like Derrick White, you're going to say, man, I really missed out on some big checks, This
is Derrick White's big payday. He doesn't have the first holiday cash in, right? This is his big one. So he really has to make it count. By the way, the pick is in. I just want to say that the Hawks pick is in. I hope I don't butcher this. Zachary Rizache. Is that it?
Yep.
Rizache? The Hawks.
You got to say it with confidence, Jimmy. Say it with confidence.
Zachary Rizache with the number 1 overall pick to the Atlantic Hawks.
So then, even if you sound wrong, you just sound confident when you say it. So
let's be honest. Nobody knows who these guys are, right? I mean, come on. There was some talk that the Hawks might trade it, but they went ahead and made that pick. So that's where we are. First pick is in. Guys, we're gonna stick around for the first few picks just because we're talking about the Celtics in the league right now. And we'll try to chime in with an update. I imagine everybody watching this show probably has the draft on in the background. So we do appreciate you guys hanging out with us here. All right, where were we now? Derrick White. So Josue, will the Celtics and Derrick White come to an agreement by the time the regular season starts? Yes or no?
Yes, I think so.
Bobby?
I think so, just because the reporting is now they're going to put that 127 on the table, because as far as I know, it wasn't on the table last summer. I understand why it wasn't. Looking back on it, maybe it should have been, just based on what he ended up doing the next year. But at that time, he was a guy approaching 30. You're tacking 4 years onto a guy who already has 2 years on his deal. So I get it. This year, it shouldn't even be a question. 127, I think, is going to be a bargain. How many different guys can you lock up long-term? How far can this front office go with the tax? Those are questions I don't think we're 100% clear on yet. But it seems like, at least from all the rumblings, that Wick's willing to do whatever it takes to keep who they need to stay in championship contention. And this is a guy who they need to stay in championship contention. And I know, Jimmy, I've learned the hard way over the last handful of years here. Hometown discount not always guaranteed. I don't know if 127 is a huge discount. It is one, certainly, based on what he could make in the open market. But what White gets out of that is guaranteed money for 4 years. You go out there and get hurt this year, maybe you don't get that kind of money even. He's a little bit of an older guy. Maybe he slips a little bit with his play this year, and all of a sudden you don't even get that going in next year. And not a lot of teams have cap space now. I'm looking at it going into next summer. You're talking like Detroit, Houston, Orlando's of the world, Charlotte, Washington, Philly, I guess you could go to, or OKC maybe clears out some money at that point. But most teams are pretty shored up, and we'll see what teams do this summer in terms of long-term money. So not a lot of teams have $35, $40 million to offer Derrick White on the open market. The Knicks offered OG that because he's their own player. It's a little different than another team going out and making that kind of offer. So I think a deal gets done.
Okay. I'll say no, one, for the sake of argument, but two, because I actually think Derrick White can make more than that. And I think he probably thinks that. I think his team, his agent.
If I was his agent, that's the choice I would make. But I think Derrick's heart is in Boston. Yep.
So his heart can still be in Boston, and he can still say, hey, I want to make what I owe. I'm going to wait, because that's in the best interest of me and my family and yada, 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 the same thing everybody says. And the Celtics can still pony up, and Wick can still pony up and make that deal. But if he doesn't, and if the Celtics don't, then, the Derrick White era obviously was a successful one. We can say that already because they won. And then Derrick White has been a much, much, much better player. Then I think anybody ever realized, even though there were some people who knew how good he was. Listen, you can't even tell me Greg Popovich knew that Derrick White could be as good as he was, because I don't think he makes that trade if he does. So, it's been awesome to have Derrick White on this team. We know how important he is to it. I just think that he's probably worth more than what that max money
absolutely
is going to get him for. So if you're Derrick White, if you're the Celtics, you make him that offer. He says, thanks, love it here in Boston, but I'm going to wait and just see how things shake out.
Would you rather have OG or White?
I think OG is probably considered a more, stronger player, but I'm probably a little biased too. So I'll go with the hometown guy. I'll go with White. OG's taking nothing away from OG at all. It's a good question. I think on a national scale, more people.
I know. I wonder what a Knicks fan would say.
So exactly. The Ringer,
they might be torn.
The Ringer's top 100, which they updated recently, would have Anunoby at 55 and White at 37.
There you go. So White considered by the Ringer. Good. A good talent evaluator. And again, so there goes. There's my. So that's kind of what I'm saying, Bobby. It's like,
yeah,
OG just signed for over $200 million. Is that the number that I saw?
212. Yeah,
he's going to. And you're asking Derrick White to sign for basically almost $100 million less. Why? For an insurance policy? And the pick is in here. Washington Wizards have selected center Alex Sarr from France.
Couple French guys leading Washington in the future. By the way, we didn't mention it, but Washington went out and got Malcolm Brogdon tonight. Probably not.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, what was that? What was that full trade? They gave up, or they got a couple picks
for the stretch big. What's his name? Avdia.
Denny Avdia. A pick moved hands as well. I believe Washington got 14, which was the pick the Celtics had that they sent to Portland for Drew Holiday.
I think Washington got two.
So they got it back.
Yeah, they got a future first as well, which I think was a swap here. So Brogdon, see a guy who shakes loose here. Go to Miami, go to Milwaukee, something like that. Would he come back to Boston? I don't think so, but. Right. He'll end up somewhere in the East, I would think.
He's not going to
awkward. Yeah, it'd be awkward.
So, thanks. By the way, thanks guys for watching and leaving some comments.
I don't think if Brogdon's on the Wizards this year, bless him. It's been a tough 2 years since.
Nah, he's not doing this again. Come on, Bobby. You already know. Miami's calling. Philly, maybe Philly. Probably.
OG
Philly.
was 5 years.
Yeah.
So obviously that's a difference. That's a big difference there in that extra year. But that goes.
Yeah, that's the other thing you can do if you go to free agency is White.
He played ball last year, but he's not gonna do that again.
Again, don't you think White's trying to maximize everything he can get? This is his big contract. So that extra year, signing that extra year next year, Bobby, as opposed to signing it in 5 years from now, if he were to sign a 4-year extension on top of his one. That could be a huge difference. That could be a massive.
Yeah. Right. But if you're the Celtics, you could.
How things go for him.
You could approach this table saying like, "Hey, we'll take care of you the next time," but it's always a risk. Ask Chris Paul. It's happened before in the past. But
yeah, and the Celtics have obviously stood their ground a little bit on this negotiation going back to last year. I think they'll probably extend themselves a little bit more this time around. But would they do 5 years and 180 next summer or something like that? I don't know. White has to actually know he can get that next summer from Boston or someone else. And the key is someone else, right, Jimmy? Who out there is going to offer White $200 million across the league?
Well, I don't know. That I can't answer. But if you look at the way White plays the game, he's available, number one. He plays hard on both ends. He was an all-NBA second-team defense this year. We know his smarts out there, his playmaking, his attitude, team first, man. If you're any team looking to bring in a high character guy who has championship, experience and can play ball 2 ways, you're willing to make a deal. You're willing to sign a player like that. It's, you're not signing a guy who's going to average 30 a game, but you're bringing in a guy who's going to do whatever it takes to win and contribute. And he's going to do it with a smile on his face. He's humble. Again, he knows how to accept a role and thrive in that role. And so I think there's a lot of teams out there that would benefit
to
from
a
having White.
To a point. But at that point, Boston can match it. So It's going to be interesting, right? Because I think Boston offers the full max this summer. Maybe he doesn't accept it. But then at that point, do they extend themselves a little bit more even next summer?
So I think you know who might know this, Bobby. We got to get him on. Your guy, Mr. White,
Richard White.
We got to get Richard White on. Richard, we know you watch. If you're watching right now, we'll have Amit send you the link. Hop on. Let us know what Derrick's thinking.
Give us the scoop.
Yeah. What's the way? You know what? They're probably still coming down from the high of winning a championship.
We didn't mention the other guy there, though. You think they'll extend Hauser? So here's the lowdown on Hauser real quick.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't know
Hauser's still partying in Southie, by the way. That guy was getting after it this weekend. I think he hit.
I
think he hit every bar.
You guys didn't cross paths.
Are you out there, Jimmy? With the?
I was thinking he might hit up one of your spots.
I was not there this weekend, or we definitely would have. If our powers combined, I guarantee you he'd be rocking a hard hat right now. I guarantee you he'd be rocking.
And look out for Pritchard on the Cape at some point throughout these next couple of weeks. I feel like someone's gonna run into some Celtics fans. He's gonna surprise him at a party or something.
Pretty tame though. Cape's pretty tame overall. You can't get into too much trouble down there.
So this is interesting here with Hauser real quick because it is important. It could happen over the next couple of days. They have a team option on him for $2 million. I'm looking at that and saying slam dunk. Pick it up. You have Hauser for $2 million this year. If he's gone, he's gone after this. This report comes out. I know Forsberg wrote a little bit about it, but they can actually decline that option for $2 million, and he becomes a restricted free agent. So at that point, can you negotiate a fair deal, something that works for you and Hauser as a restricted free agent? Do you make him go out and get an offer sheet? Maybe it's the mid-level from another team, or do you just kind of squeeze him at that point and have him, take let's say a $5, $6, $7 million contract if you're Hauser? That's probably something. Again, you're really pushing, just trying to keep all these guys, and you got to address center here. But that is something you could probably do if you do have the ownership approval. But is ownership going to pay dozens of millions in tax every year for Hauser when you can maybe replace him in this draft, when you can maybe replace him in undrafted free agency? I think it's a lot to say you're going to replace Hauser because he's been really good. But I think that's the line you draw probably, Jimmy, right? Money-wise, You're not going to spend big to sign Hauser. And they can extend him too. I think Forsberg said the max is 4 years, $78 million. I don't think they can even come anywhere close to that. You're probably talking like $40 million max. And I don't think that's enough to keep Hauser. I think Hauser could go out and get paid next summer.
Yeah, that might happen, to be honest with you guys. I mean, I don't know. I think it's a priority, obviously, according to these reports, to bring him back. But there's a good chance that they don't reach an agreement, and he goes into the upcoming season without a new contract.
Yeah, I think you keep him at $2 million. Figure it out later.
Yeah.
I get wanting to try it, but I don't know. Even letting him go into restricted free agency this year feels too risky. What if someone goes out and loves Hauser and offers him 20 a year, 15, 20 a year? You're screwed at that point.
An interesting choice by that team.
That'd be quite a development.
Money to spend, I guess. Yeah, exactly.
Some teams do this summer, so I don't see that happening.
Hauser was massive for the Celtics in a few games in the NBA Finals, including Game 5.
Man, he got out the streak at the end of that series in the East Conference Finals.
And so there were a lot of eyes on him. He did not hurt his stock at all in the NBA Finals for sure. So there could be a team out there looking for a sharpshooter, looking for a guy quick release. Obviously, the league's trended in that direction, and he was not a black hole on defense. He was not a liability.
He's really good.
Some guys are. So as far as I'm concerned, he can party and sell all summer long, and he shouldn't have to pay for a damn thing for the rest of his life as long as he is. So. Yeah, I don't know, Bob. We'll see what happens. As you guys can see down lower third, Houston Rockets select Reed Shepherd with the number 3 overall pick. The Spurs are on the clock, and we're going to go a few more minutes here before we go any further. Let's talk about our next. Let me make sure I get this.
We have to talk about the Rockets after the break too, by the way.
We'll talk about the Rockets after the break, but first. Let me take a selfie. No, download the Game Time app, guys. Shout out Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account. Use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Take a look at those terms. But it's like I said earlier, guys, it's baseball season. And I don't know if you've noticed this. The Red Sox are solid. Fenway Park, seats are available. And the price might be dropping, even though the Celtics are getting
cover out there tonight, though.
Yeah, if you're out there right now, you want to have like a seat under the grandstands for once. Typically, you want to probably avoid that, but you got to check out the weather. But Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, in their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So whether you're living, and we get a lot of fans of the show all over America and really the world. If it's not Fenway Park, it's Camden Yards. It's, wherever. I don't even know where all these other stadiums are or what their names are. But tickets to be had, guys. It's summer. The dog days of summer are going to be coming up. Believe it or not, basketball news will slow down. You'll be able to kill 2+ hours at a baseball park and just not have to think about anything else. That's the beauty of that's the beauty of baseball. You can just kind of turn your brain off, grab a seat, use the Game Time app, grab a seat, get a super low price, get the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. Sit in the bleachers, get a sunburn, grab a beer, grab a hot dog, just kind of fade off into oblivion for a bit.
And think about that. $20 off your ticket is probably a beer.
That's probably a beer and a half, or like a hot dog and a Coke, right? I mean, but honestly though, what's better than that? What's better than the free beer and a hot dog as you burn in a good way? Just let the crack of the bat, snap of the glove, let that just take over as you just sit there. Great seat, great vibe. Win or lose, it's always fun going to a baseball game in the summer, trying to paint the picture. So check out Game Time app. Use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Let me make sure I hit everything here. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Crack of the bat, smack of the hard hat, lacing up the steel toe boots. All right.
You're doing great, Jimmy.
Back to basketball for a minute, Bobby. What did you want to talk about? Oh, we'll do a short amount of time on the Rockets here. Don't kill us on this.
So
what do you got?
It was weird last night. Woj came through. Rockets Nets did a weird trade right around the same time as that Bridges trade, and the gist of it was the Nets sent the Rockets 3 of the Suns picks from the Durant trade, from when the Nets traded Durant to Phoenix. And the Rockets sent back 2 of the Nets picks, 25 and 26. So the Nets got some of their picks back from the Harden trade. Mm-hmm. And Woj is kind of saying, yeah, this would be great if they want to trade for Durant, which might happen. And, maybe they want to trade for Booker. And so they'll have those. Ime
and Durant back together.
Yeah, so they'll have those picks in the arsenal. Now, the Suns owner came out today on Twitter and said it's not happening. Durant's happy there. They're happy with Durant. But again, weird that Woj floats that. And you get 3 Suns picks. They have some pieces that can maybe help Phoenix out. The weird thing with Phoenix right now is they're so stuck. They have no picks. They have no money. They have these 3 guys that worked okay together, but not really great. They've almost missed the top 6 of the West and had to play the play-in. So I don't know. Do you have to trade Durant at some point soon to improve your depth? Do you have to trade Booker maybe, which would really be ridiculous to improve your depth here? I don't know, but Woj put it on the radar last night. That's not something I don't think he would do lightly.
I mean, you can put that, I feel like there's an argument to be made, if like a particular player or some type of situation were to present itself where you could swing a deal. But I just don't think the Phoenix Suns are ready to do that. Like, they're not ready to have that conversation. Like, they're still thinking to themselves, if everybody was healthy, or if maybe if we get a piece here or there off the bench that can really help these guys, or shit, maybe if we can just play defense, I don't think they're at a space where they're like, okay, maybe this thing isn't working. I think they're still thinking that, if they're all healthy and if they can just sort of surround them with better parts, better players, talent, surround them with more talent, that they can figure this out on the fly.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think the connection that Ime and Durant have is no secret, going back to their Brooklyn days and obviously Team USA and all that stuff. Could see something like that happening. I think what Ime has done down there in a short amount of time in Houston is not really a surprise to anybody who knows, kind of the effect he had on the Celtics team, right? He has a hard-nosed mentality. He doesn't sugarcoat things. He doesn't baby guys. He's a hard-nosed player. He's kind of old school that way. There's not a lot of them left, it doesn't seem. But I think it works after guys get sort of past like maybe the shock of it, Josue. They realize that he's a guy that knows what he's talking about, knows how to get guys going. And, might be a little bit different for Durant coming in as the guy that's, if Durant's coming into a team that's got a number of young players, he obviously still takes over on that leadership role. But is Houston really there? Is that really going to, I don't think that's enough to really put Houston as a title contender. I mean, no offense to Durant. He's still, proving people wrong. He's still, when he's healthy and out there, he's still playing like one of the best teams, one of the best players in the league. Still think you need a little bit more. So I'd be interested to see if Durant is sort of ready for a change like that. Obviously, things have not gone the way people hoped or thought they would in Phoenix, and with the way they were, booted from the playoffs this year. Booker's interesting too. There's a guy that a lot of people thought is on par with Jason Tatum, a top 5, top 10 player in the league. Definitely more one-dimensional than Tatum is, though, focusing more, on the offensive side of things. But
yeah, man, these guys don't defend, Jimmy.
Right.
Like until they can get that through their minds. That's a good place to start. But
right.
Until then, I don't see it. The Western Conference is too tough, man. These guys, there's teams out there that really defend at a high level. I mean, the Minnesota Timberwolves, it nearly got them to the finals. The way they defend. Obviously, the Dallas Mavericks, not necessarily in that same category in terms of like top tier, in the Western Conference, next to the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Denver Nuggets, but the Phoenix Suns are nowhere even. They're not even on the same playing field, those guys, when it comes to defense. So I don't know. We'll see.
Interesting too.
I think
in the mix for Marcus Smart, another former Ime.
Yeah, Ime's trying to get all his guys back together, man. He's like,
interesting.
He's like, man, give me the pieces and I'll show you guys. And
he wants to win.
Good for Boston, but damn it, I want to win one too. It could have been yours, Ime.
That'd be great.
Could have been.
Yeah, we got to get an Ime quote. We got the Marcus Smart quote floating around. He's very happy for the guys. I'm sure Ime feels. Listen, we already know.
Yeah, has enough time passed? Can Ime do a podcast now? Come on, we're talking 2 years now. Ime, come on, give us something. Yeah. Where's your personality at? We don't see it anymore.
He doesn't strike me as a big podcast guy, does he, Josue?
I've seen no, not at all. Before, I think he used to be, but things have changed. Yeah. I think I've seen like 2 or 3 pressers ever since he went to Houston. I mean, you don't see him. You don't hear from him much. So come on, give me a podcast. Let's do it.
Looks like there's some buzz that the Grizzlies, speaking of Smart, could move up here to number 5 to pursue Donovan Clingan, who was in the mix for number 1 in this draft. The Hawks thought about it as they try to shuffle their roster into the future. And there's another UConn guy here too in Castle going off the board, San Antonio. So it could be back-to-back UConn guys at 4 or 5. And Memphis needs that big center. They lost a lot when they traded Steven Adams, and he got hurt for most of last year. So he didn't play at all. But that could be a good pickup for Memphis there, if they end up making this trade. So we'll see.
Well,
but this is where the movement starts.
The pick is in for Detroit. And it looks like
Paul
Bufano, Josue, is the pick. Paul Bufano is the pick. Bobby,
and here we go.
The Jazz guy? What?
From the Colgate Comedy Hour. Can you believe it? Bobby, you know Paul Bufano. Roy Dawes.
Paul Bufano. Come on,
Come on, man.
And here we go. The first big surprise of the draft. The Pistons going to keep the pick.
Yo, imagine if I didn't get the reference and I'm like, who's that? What school is he from?
Bobby was reeling for a second. He's like, Paul Bufano, Paul
Bufano. Detroit's keeping the pick. They're going with Ron Hall and G League Ignite, a former Potential number 1 pick in this draft as well. One of the younger guys in the draft too. He's still 18. Big 3 and D prospect. The 3 wasn't really there for him at G League Ignite, but they were a mess last year. So I like this 6'6" guy, 6'10" wingspan. They're a long way away though in Detroit. So I guess he's just a piece of what
good
they're
luck
trying
to you, bud. What do you guys do you wanna take a stab at what you think the Celtics might do or should do or anything like
let's
that?
throw some names.
I personally don't. I'm not even going to, but I will let you guys if that's what you'd like to do.
So I'm gonna.
I thought you were gonna do the Bronny thing. Come on, Jimmy.
We can do the Bronny thing.
All right, I'll do the Bronny thing. I'll do the Bronny.
Yeah. Come on.
All right.
Nobody heard that.
Hey, I'm on that boat too, but I just don't see the Celtics doing it.
We'll do a Bronny.
I don't think that's gonna happen. But
we'll do a Bronny 30 seconds.
So if I had my way, I'm taking Bronny.
I just want to say, I hope they don't draft Jalen Tyson because I'm going to confuse that with Jason Tatum like over and over and over. It's just the word.
Or Jalen Brown.
It's already screwing with me. Jalen Tyson, Jason Tatum.
Homeschool Jimmy.
So, all right, Bobby, take us through here.
Here's the rundown. Let me give you the first.
You're really going Duke on us, bro. Come on.
Well, it's one. Is this your top option, or are you just saying because he is one of them for sure? But go ahead, Bobby. Sorry.
Freaking Duke.
So out of these 5, that's the guy who's probably going to go first. Tough to imagine him getting past Milwaukee, especially in the 20s there. So I don't think Filipowski's going to be on the board. He's not a guy I'd move up for either. I know there's some buzz Celtics might trade up. I don't see it. I think it's more likely they trade down tonight. So Filipowski, kind of a pipe dream, but a 7-footer, can shoot. Played for Emil Jefferson, who was there last year at Duke, which is interesting too. So he knows him. But if I was going to compare him to someone, an Olynyk type. 7-footer, not super long, not super effective defensively, but positionally he'll try to get in there and make an impact at that size.
That's Olynyk for sure.
Looks cool as F, man. I want him. Look at that shirt. Yeah, I know. But he looks cool.
Number 2, actually, I'll move him up here because I think he's actually going to go.
We can't trade for Ron Holland right now. That'd be awesome. Number 2.
Before Boston's on the clock, I think Baylor Shireman will be gone. 5-year guy. There's a lot of 5-year guys in this draft, Jimmy, who are like 22, 23.
What happened to number 2 guy?
I flipped him. Shireman probably going to be gone, but if he's there, I think you take him fast. He's one of the guys Brad said yesterday, if there's someone we really like at 30, we'll take him. If there's a couple guys that are okay, probably move back. Shireman's one of the guys I think you stay and pick at 30 if he's there. He's around 27 consensus, so it's going to be close, but I think he'll probably be gone. Great shooter, shot 8 threes a game. He's a lefty. Phenomenal passer, too. He throws some really flashy transition passes, backdoor cuts. Shireman's fun. And again, he's older, not a great defender. So at 6'6", 6'5". Yeah, I mean, they're picking 30. They're picking 30. So
this is the guy right here. Go ahead, Bobby.
Bro.
Yeah. So if that guy's not around, I actually would think about taking an overseas guy here, Pacome Dadier from France.
Frenchman.
Oh, I forgot you swapped. Never mind. That's not the guy. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is not the guy at all.
That's not the guy.
So Shireman I think will be gone. Filipowski will be gone. Dadier I think will be there. So it'll be interesting. You want to stash that guy, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. I don't want a stasher, man. I don't want that for the Celtics, but yeah, go on.
Dude, I think have they ever made good on a stasher? Have they ever hey guys, here's our stasher. Remember him?
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting on that point guard. I'm still waiting on Madar.
Yeah.
Madar hasn't put on the Summer League jersey since, man.
We're ready to unveil our new and improved draft pick that we've been stashing away. Has that ever worked?
I think it's just a little money saving move with him. He's 18. He's not going to play this year. Get him the reps. Keep him playing over there. Have him face the competition in the EuroLeague. Really good mid-range. Really good mid-range guy. He looks physically like he's older than 18. Like he's competing over there with the big bodies. He played in Germany this year. So I like his ability to play through contact. The three's okay. It's not great. But again, that's something that can come along, and doesn't really rebound, doesn't really pass a ton, but his scoring game is pretty well developed, I feel like, for an 18-year-old. So I like him, like him as a stash candidate.
He's 18 and he averaged 6.4 points a game. How is his offense something that you think is like ready to go?
I think his scoring game for an 18-year-old is pretty developed in a German league where he's probably not getting a lot of looks, a lot of touches. I think he shot 50% from the field in the German league, but 37-38 from three, and 80% at the line. So that's all stuff that progressed well.
I got Amit coming at me in the chat. I'm coming at me about stash guys. I'm talking about the Celtics stash guys. I understand that players around the NBA in the history of the league have made good on being stashed. But if you're talking about the Celtics,
Jimmy, how'd you piss off Amit?
I mean, those were guys who were like,
get on the show. Show yourself if you want to come at me.
Those are like 40th, 50th overall picks, though.
How you piss off Amit?
Yeah. So like Dadier, it sounds like, I mean, he's the ultimate.
He was mocked to them at 30.
He's 18 years old. I mean, the guy could still grow like 6 more inches and be a completely different player, for all we know.
I don't know about the height growth, but yeah, he could change his game. Now, the reason I like him,
he's not 12, Jimmy.
The reason I like him, there's a lot of guys here, Jimmy, that can do one thing. They got this one skill that's probably going to get them into the league, but they have weaknesses everywhere that are probably going to prevent them from being players at a high level, if players at all. So this is the one guy I think that's young enough, that has enough skill set to bloom into something better down the line. So I think you take a swing on a guy like that.
So this is Josue's guy, it looks like. Next.
You like Tyler Smith, Josue?
I love Tyler Smith, man. That's the guy. I don't know if he's going to be there, though. That's the thing. But go on.
I think he'll be there. His game's a little loosey-goosey. Like, he's just sort of launching up shots. He's pretty wild driving to the rim. He's got good size. I think he's 6'9", 6'10"-ish. But his defense was really, really bad. Now, is that Ignite? Is that him being 18, 19 years old? I think that's probably a lot of it. So he'll be there at 30, I feel like. Is he a guy you take at 30? I don't know, but he's got a shot. He's a big guy who can shoot. He's got a decent roll game, too. Not much of a passer on the roll, but the shooting for a guy with size is something that's intriguing there. Really bad defense season, man. But, maybe they can improve that up in Maine.
Big bowler.
And then finally, Jalen Tyson.
I like how he has the G League experience, the 36 he shot, 36%.
Yeah, he played
from the three.
Yeah, and he played a couple of years at Overtime Elite, too. So he's been playing against, pro-level guys or guys who have vying for the pros for 2-3 years now. So
big bowler, by the way. I just Googled him. He's apparently he loves bowling.
All right.
The last guy who loved bowling in this city was pretty good at baseball.
Mookie Betts.
Yeah.
And then Jalen Tyson. That's probably the safest pick they can make here. They've been mocked Tyson in a lot of spots. He's 21, great rebounder. He overall can just do a lot of stuff around the rim that I liked. He's strong. He can guard a couple different positions. Look at that block, chasing the guy down there.
This is like my type of research here. Just the highlight reel. Just hit me with the highlights.
But, you see him here doing a lot of different stuff. I like his defense, guard a couple of different positions. The defense overall wasn't super consistent during the year, but he can pass. He can rebound. And he did a lot with the ball in his hands this year, too. His usage rate was really high. So can he adjust that? I don't know. But he looks like a guy who's got some complementary skills, and he's 6'5"-ish, so he's pretty big, too. So I'd call him like a combo guard. Probably a guy in Boston who's going to have to catch and shoot. But he shot pretty well catch and shoot this year. I think he was like 37. So, there's a lot of different stuff you can do for a guy at this position. Now, this isn't the kind of guy the Celtics have drafted, under Stevens especially. They've gone with some more raw guys who have potential. So I don't think it's going to be Tyson, but he's been mocked to this spot a lot, so I threw him on there.
Jalen Tyson went to Texas, played 8 games, entered the portal, went to Texas Tech, played 31 games, then he transferred again to Cal. This guy's been all over the country already.
So before we log off, want my final prediction on what I think they're going to do?
No, we're all set. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. Yes, Bobby.
What you got?
Getting some intel, thinking about it a little bit more the last couple of days, looking at more guys. I think what they're ultimately going to do here is trade back, maybe to like 34. Awesome. I think they're going to take Jonathan Mogbo from San Francisco.
Oh, okay. So wait, how come he didn't make it then?
Yeah, why isn't he on your list, bro?
He popped up over the last day for me. Just talking to some people.
Oh, you got some
getting some really good reviews. He's been in the building for Boston. So a little bit more of an unsung guy. Really good passer. He's 6'6".
What's his name?
Jonathan Mogbo.
Mogbo. You should have probably told Amit this before the show. So we
Again,
had him on the show.
late guy who just popped up here. So
Jonathan Mogbo. Hold on, I'm looking him up. University of San Francisco. I didn't even know they had him.
Now he's got to fire up the YouTube highlights and all that.
All right, Bobby, you keep talking.
So 6'6", a little bit of a late bloomer. Doesn't have a 3-point shot, but the passing's really good. The awareness is really good. The rebounding's really good. Just has a good feel for the game. You know, they brought in Travion Williams. Do you remember him from the Summer League team last year, Jimmy? I heard maybe 2 years ago at this point. That passing big. They loved having Cornette these last couple of years, who just had a real good feel. Didn't shoot, right, but he could finish around the rim and make all the right plays in that high post area. I just like the fact that they could mold him into what they want him to be. Could they put him outside and start having him shoot threes? I don't know if that's going to work. He really didn't shoot threes over the last couple of years at San Francisco. I think he came out of community college his first 2 years, junior college, wherever he was. So that's the guy I'm closing in on. I think that's the most likely thing the Celtics are going to do here is trade back, get a guy like that. Dylan Jones, a name to watch too, out of Weber State.
It would be the first pick of a player from USF, so the University of San Francisco. The first time a player would be picked from that team or school since 1982.
And I thought you were going to say Bill Russell.
Might as well be. I mean, damn, 1982. None of us were even thoughts at that point. Bobby, you were a long ways away from 1982, my friend. What was I going to say? I was going to say something, but I forgot.
Dylan Jones.
I think that was it. I think that was it.
That might have been it. That might have actually been it.
That's another name to watch. But yeah, Jimmy, I think we're going to be on at 25 here, whenever we're logging on in an hour or so.
And I know what I was going to say. Let me finish your thought, Bobby. Then I'm going to ask you a question.
I think Patriot style, the Celtics going to trade out.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Is part of that decision as we go sway to the Brockton?
It's for real. It's that hour.
Yeah.
It's that hour. Once you hit the hour mark.
I think it's raining in Brockton. That screws everything up. That's what I hear.
Oh, yeah. I told you. You guys have you seen the rain yet? Is it just here?
It's loud. Dude, it's pouring right now. It's pouring right
okay.
How much of the Celtics trading back, Bobby, would have to do with luxury tax purposes? If they're not in love with a player at that spot, that's going to obviously cost them more than if they just went back a few spots into the second round, save some money there. Wick gets to go on, that vacation that he probably hasn't been able to go on recently.
Yeah, no, it gives you options. There's some flexibility with second round guys. You can throw in some non-guaranteed years. That's what they did with Walsh. You can,
but you'd have to find a team. You'd have to find a team that likes a player at that spot, I guess, and probably
at 30. Yeah,
it would make sense for them to take that financial hit, if you will, and move up enough spots in order to make that hit. I don't think the Celtics are going to back up a spot or two because
and those teams aren't going to trade up 31, 32. Toronto, Utah, Milwaukee's picking at like 23, so they're going to trade up from 33. Maybe if there's someone they really like. Portland's team to watch. I'd say they just picked Donovan Clingan, by the way. They have 34 and 40. So could you trade 30 for 34 and 40, maybe, or pick down the line? Yeah. Indiana, maybe. They have a lot of players. Swap 30, 36. But yeah, it's going to be hard to find someone specifically who wants to jump up to 30. With Philly, they're looking for some depth. But I think Portland's the one, if anyone's going to do it, who would probably consolidate some of their seconds and try to get into the first, get another really good bona fide young guy at that spot. But, like you said, Jimmy, you do need someone to partner with there. So it'll be interesting to see who it is if they do it. So, again, shots in the dark here. Who knows what's going to happen by the time 30 comes around. So that's what Brad said, right? If there's one player they love, they'll stay and pick. If there's a couple that they're okay with, can move back. The other thing is if there's a couple guys you like, say there's 3 guys, one of them's willing to take a 2-way, then that guy's not on the books at all. He's on your 2-way. So that's another power to moving into the second round.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna ask everybody one question to end the show. Before I do, I want to remind everybody watching that the merch store, CLNS merch store, is popping right now. It's live. New merch is here. We got a fire promo that Amit put together for us too. There's the URL, shop.clnsmedia.com. You'll see a lot of people are wearing the shirts. People got the hard hats out. We've got the new name drop tee that yours truly designed. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's got all the names that really guided the Celtics to that 18th banner. And then it has banner 18 at the bottom of that. You've got 2 different hard hats right now. You've got the original Garden Report hard hat. Then you've got the limited edition banner 18 hard hat. And that really is limited edition. We're not making any more of them once they sell out, and they've been going pretty quickly. We still have some left because we ordered enough this time because we saw the demand coming. The green ones are going strong. That's the OG. We're going to start. I was talking to Amit. Me and Amit have been in the lab. We've got a number of T-shirts, as you guys see here. We've got the phenomenal sweatshirt. We've got backpacks. We've also got mugs. I think we've got another T-shirt that's close to coming out. That one's going to be very limited. I think the OG Garden Report or diehard Garden Report fans will like that one. But a lot of good stuff in the merch store. So right now, you can use the code SUMMER24 for 20% off. Help us help you. A lot of people are buying merch and they're not plugging in that promo code. If you miss the promo code, there's not really much we can do for you. The code's there. We want to help you guys save some money on this stuff. We want you guys to look styling this summer. Hard hats were all around. I heard the hard hats were all around the parade route, and you guys were on site for that, and that looked like a lot of fun. And I hope to see some hard hats in the TD Garden next year. So now's the time to get them. So shout out to everybody who has supported us through the merch store. And shout out to Amit for putting that stuff together. Lastly, what I want to ask you guys, one name we have not mentioned yet actually Josue mentioned it briefly. Does Bronny James get drafted tonight? It's the first round tonight. It's the second round tomorrow. Does Bronny James get drafted tonight? And if so, is that a mistake? Is somebody more likely to draft him is one team more likely to draft him than another team? Do you think somebody should take the risk? Bobby, we'll start with you.
No tonight.
Did the Celtics consider drafting Bronny James? How about that? That's the main
They
question.
should.
Okay. Bobby?
Again, my take has been if Ainge was here, they're picking the pick before the Lakers in the second round. He would have done a spite pick there. He's 54. What the hell? Just take him.
You think he would have lasted that long? You don't think the Lakers would have jumped up a little bit knowing that?
No, I don't think anyone else is going to take him. He hasn't worked out for any other team except them in Phoenix. Maybe Phoenix takes him and he's nearby, close to home, and that seems like a mistake to me even. The Lakers are going to take him at 55. They're going to do that whole thing.
Yeah.
And they can have fun with that.
Josue?
No, he doesn't get drafted tonight, but tomorrow will be interesting. Will be interesting for sure because one of these teams shouldn't just let the Lakers go ahead and take him. I think one of these teams should step in there. Yeah, I think so, man. Celtics, for obvious reasons, aren't in desperation mode, so they don't need to pull that kind of trick. Even though I would do it, I don't think Brad Stevens is the type. You know,
Philly do it.
Joe, don't worry, Josue.
I think Philly would.
Your GM skills more than Brad, so I'm with you.
I think Philly would, yeah, but if not, shame on those teams. Cleveland? Don't let the Lakers get what they want, especially if you're one of those teams that you could really use, whether it's the type of assets that would come with bringing in someone like Bronny or someone that's willing to take the risk and seeing what happens. But yeah, I don't think the Celtics do it, but I think someone should.
Cleveland would be interesting. They're not in the second round right now, but you could obviously easily get into the 50s.
Sure.
So I don't know. I don't think they're interested in the whole.
Phoenix is interesting. I think Phoenix is very interesting in the sense of what because they're so like out of assets that this would be a huge come up for them. even if it doesn't pan into a big trade, shit. Giving Bronny a shot for the future, why not? If you're Phoenix,
51.
I love Cleveland as the dark horse. They draft Bronny, market him as the second coming. Now all of a sudden LeBron wants to come back. He's comfortable there.
Do it up, man. And if you're Donovan Mitchell, you stir the pot. You tell them, yo, let's stir the pot. He was here. Right. You're in a playoff game, watching Celtics. Even if it doesn't mean he comes to Cleveland, stir the pot. Draft his son and see what happens. Yeah, why not?
I think Cleveland should
do it. It's the 50th or whatever, 52nd pick, whatever they have. 50. Take a chance. F it.
I think they should do it. I don't think the Celtics are obviously not going to do it. I think if it was in a completely different situation, a much worse situation, maybe we're talking about it.
Yeah, if this is like 2016 or something like that, like those Celtics.
Yeah, it's like a chess move. It's a chess move.
Right.
You're not drafting him thinking that he's going to help you. You're drafting him thinking, A, could this get LeBron? Would LeBron consider playing here? We know he's playing with his son. Or B, could LeBron's next team be forced to acquire Bronny? Do we want to keep him long enough for that to happen? You know, who's going to sort of break first in that? So it's not worth it, obviously, for a contender or any team that has like serious chance for a finals. It's not really worth it for them to take that risk. But that's probably the only interesting thing that could come out of tomorrow. I don't know why the NBA is dragging the second round into a second night. Barely know any of these guys in the first night. Never mind the second night. So I feel
like it's Bronny night. I feel like they're doing this for. No, I'm just kidding.
Probably gonna do it. Probably will. Probably will. Anyways,
yeah, probably try to
8 picks.
What?
Yeah,
8 picks down. We'll
we're
back in 22.
Like I said, we'll be back as soon as whether it's.
I should have got some pizza tonight. We'll have pizza tomorrow, Josue.
Oh, that's right.
I gotta make.
It's a tradition.
I gotta make something. We're gonna be back as soon as either big Celtics news hits, or we'll probably try to come back a few picks before the Celtics. Recap anything.
If they trade up, we're gonna jump right on. But I doubt it.
If there's a trade up, be honest. If they trade up to the active pick, we're probably not gonna. You guys know us. We're probably not gonna get our shit together enough in time to go live for that.
Speak for yourself, Jimmy. Me and Josue will be right on the horn.
Yeah, you'll go like shut your dog up for 10 minutes, and then Josue will go grab everything. No, but the point I'm trying to make is we will be here to cover you guys tonight, regardless of what happens. If the Celtics keep their pick, we'll be there a few picks before to sort of bring you into that pick, recap anything that's gone down, if anything newsworthy has. If not, if they trade out, are we going to do anything? I don't think so.
I don't think we'll know until close to that pick. So we'll be on the air when it happens, I'd imagine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's fair. If they trade out like well before their pick, we're probably not going to go live, but I'll let you guys figure that out. Otherwise, we're going live. So we'll see you guys in a bit.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, hour. Hold on. Damn it. I don't even have Amit. Hit me with the outro.
Look at this boomer right here.
Amit's scrambling right now. Yeah, he called me a boomer. Hit me with the outro. We'll see you guys in a bit. Wait, Amit's got an outro for us, I think.
No, he doesn't.
He said he was going to work on an outro.
He had a phenomenal game.
Forfeit's out. I think it's an option.
That did not sound like a chair.
It was a freaking chair. It does sound like a chair.